Welcome back to another episode of the Field of 68's off-season grades. My name is Rob Dauster. I have Terrence Oglesby with me, and we are going to be breaking down the Villanova Wildcats. To break down Villanova, I had to get an official Big East guy on here with me. And T.O., Villanova lost a lot of talent this past season. T.J. Bamba is gone. He's at Oregon. Brendan Housen is gone. He's at Kansas State. Justin Moore, Tyler Burton, Akeem Hart are all gone. They're out of eligibility. Mark Armstrong is gone. He went pro, even though he didn't have a chance to get drafted. Lance Ware is gone. He's at UT Arlington. Eric Dixon is back and is going to be in a conversation for Big East Player of the Year. Jordan Longino is back, and hopefully he's going to end up being healthy this season for the first time in his college career. And in addition, we have 5 transfers coming in, plus 3 freshmen and a redshirt freshman, 4 freshmen and a redshirt freshman. Jameer Brick is from LaSalle, Wooga Poplar from Miami, Enoch Bawachi from Fresno State. Took a long time to make sure we got that name right, but we nailed that last name. Tyler Perkins from Penn coming in, and Chris Parker, a redshirt freshman transferring in from Alabama, along with true freshman Matthew Hodge, Josiah Mosley, and Jordan Dumont, as well as redshirt freshman true freshman Malcolm Thomas, redshirt freshman Jordan Dumont, as well as a Bulgarian kid. I'm not even going to try to say his last name. I will let you do all of the
Alexander Gavalyagov.
Nailed it.
Nailed
it.
Good player.
What do you make of this roster that Kyle Neptune has put together in year 3?
First things first, having Eric Dixon back is going to fix a lot of problems, just because he's probably the strongest guy in the league physically. And that's saying a lot in the Big East with a bunch of rugged physical dudes. That's saying a lot. I've been an Eric Dixon fan ever since he was a surprise starter. I want to say in his sophomore year, his redshirt freshman year. Can't remember. I just remember him playing at UCLA and thinking, man, this kid's pretty good on the defensive end of the floor. He's improved as a jump shooter, averaged almost 17 points a game last year. That's going to continue. I'm a big Eric Dixon fan. What he's done, Kyle Neptune, what he's done in the transfer portal, he's putting a lot of faith, and I'm talking about a lot of faith in fifth-year guard Jameer Brickus, because they're going to need somebody to create for all these guys. And Brickus at 5'11", not the biggest guy, but he had over a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. They're going to need him to be that kind of creator for this Villanova team this year. Gavalyagov is also a really good player, but sometimes it takes some of these younger European kids coming over to adjust the physicality and the quickness of the American game, at least the younger ones, not the ones coming over at 22 and 23 years old. It's going to take him a second or two, maybe a month or two of the season to really adjust, but he's a very good player. Is it point guard by committee after Brickus? If something happens to him, who brings the ball up? Who's the kind of this set the table guy? They have several guys that can do it. I mean, he's pretty much signed the Big 5 All-Stars with Perkins and Brickus, but like are they going to be able to manufacture enough offense and move the ball quick enough the Villanova way to be able to get some of these shot opportunities off? Tyler Perkins, good player. Big fan of Wooga Poplar, was a big fan last year. He's a Philadelphia area kid. He comes back home a little bit closer, and he's going to be able to score a lot of points. Averaged almost 14 points a game at Miami. He was very good at Miami. Don't know why he left. Wanted to be closer to home. Understandable. Enoch Bawachi's an interesting one, because the development of Eric Dixon from the perimeter and his ability to shoot, Bawachi's not a guy with much offensive skill set. In his profile for Villanova, it says he has a developing offensive game. He's a senior. It's no longer developing. It's non-existent. But what he does bring is a dunker, a defensive presence, and a big-time rebounder. He had trouble staying on the floor in the Mountain West because he was a little bit bigger and more physical than everybody else in that league. This season in the Big East, I think it's going to suit his game better as a dunker, rebounder, defender. And I think he could have a potentially good season for Villanova. But just keep in mind what he is. He's very limited offensively and good on the defensive end. How much is going to be put on Jameer Brickus is going to be huge. And he has to be really good for Villanova to be a tournament team.
Yeah, from what I've heard coming out of Villanova is that he's looked really good at the start of the season. But I heard the same thing about Mark Armstrong last year. I heard the
Everybody
same
looks
thing.
everybody looks great against their own team when they're set up for
Mhm.
success and all that. That's kind of where you have to take some of these things with a grain of salt. Everybody loves their team in August. Everybody.
Mhm.
So it's just a matter of with the size, the Big East known for big rugged dudes. How's 5'11" going to translate over? It translates great in Pitt at LaSalle. So we'll see how that moves. The A10 is a great league, but it's not the Big East in terms of physicality. So, do I think it could translate? Yes. Do I think there's going to be an adjustment period? A little bit, just because he's not quite as big as some of the other guards in the league.
Yeah, I just when I look at this Villanova roster, like I just don't get it. I just don't see there with a lot of especially with the portal, like you can look at the way that these rosters are built and figure out like what these teams are trying to do, right? The example I like to go to is Kansas State. You're bringing a point guard in Doug McDaniel. You're bringing in a bunch of guys that are able to shoot. You bring in some versatile 4/5s, and you're gonna try to play the way that Jerome Tang wants to play. He's gonna put Doug McDaniel on ball screens. He's gonna put shooters around him, and he's gonna get other playmakers on the floor to kind of allow one or two guys have the space to be able to rock. Right? You look at Creighton, right? The guys that they're going out and getting, you can see what they're trying to do and see how the pieces fit and see at least what the thought process is, and that there's like a method to the madness. I don't get it with Villanova. I don't like.
I get what they're trying. I actually do get what they're trying to do.
Okay,
They're trying to be.
explain it to me. Talk me into it.
They have one point guard to set the table, and then outside of that, they're trying to be big and switchable. So you look around and you're trying to have a bunch of multifaceted guys. That's what they're trying to do. And then they have that rim protecting big. So you have a traditional one, a traditional five. Everybody else is kind of in this hodgepodge of switchable defensive wing kind of deal. Who's the creator? Right outside, Brickus goes out of the game. Who's the creator? I don't know that answer. I feel like Longino's gotten better and better throughout the course of his Villanova career. That's fine. I understand what they're trying to do. I just don't know that you have a ton of shot creation on this roster. Wooga Poplar's been really good, especially his second year at Miami. How's he going to be as a guy that needs to create something for somebody else? I'm not quite sure that's him. He's more of a off the catch, attack a closeout, or catch and shoot three. Like, who's going to be that guy that's going to make the defense rotate if Brickus isn't able to get loose due to his size? That's the scary part about this roster.
Yeah, I mean, look, if that's what they're trying to do, then I don't think it's going to end up working all that well, right? I just don't
Fair.
think they have the horses to be able to do that. I don't consider Wooga Poplar like a switchable dude. Like he is like kind of long and skinny and athletic, and to me, he's a pure two. Right, your point guard is 5'11", like you mentioned. Tyler Perkins coming in.
He's 6'5", 200. I mean, like,
Yeah, but he's
Wooga
not
Poplar's
like.
not small, but he's got long arms. He
But
can
there's
switch
guys that
three
you
through
look at,
four.
right? Like there's guys that you look at, and you can just like let's just take another Villanova guy, Jermaine Samuels, as an example, right? You look at him and you say, yeah, that dude can guard up if he needs to, and then you watch him play and say, okay, I can see it, he can guard down, right? That's not. I don't. You look, you've watched more ACC than I have, but that's not who I see Wooga Poplar being. That's not who I see Tyler Perkins being. Jordan Longino can like be that guy, but he's a senior and we've been waiting for him to kind of
Yeah.
reach that potential for 3 years now, and he hasn't quite gotten there. They went out and they got Chris Parker from Alabama, a former top 100 kid. Jordan Dumont is still there, who was a 3-star kid coming in last season. Matthew Hodge is like a good switchable 4-star dude, and Josiah Mosley is another kind of like undersized 4-man from Texas. And you bring in Malcolm Thomas, another undersized 4-man, and it's just like you have all of these pieces here, and on the one hand, you got a bunch of like older dudes that you're bringing in for one last go round, and then off the bench, you got a bunch of guys that are like probably a year or two away from really being good enough to compete at the Big East at like that level, and it's just like you're trying to do two different things here, and I don't know, I don't see. It feels like there's a scatter shot of pieces that have been put together. They're going to go like what 6 deep this year. I don't think that you can really play beyond that too much, and I just
They're going to go what now?
I think like 6 deep, maybe seven, maybe
Yeah.
one of those
So,
freshmen show up.
depending on how Gavalyagov goes.
Yeah, like I don't see it. Like last year, with the team that they put together, I saw it, right? Like they put together a team that was top 15 on paper. They had a top 15, top 20 roster in the sport. And you know what happened? They went 18-16 and 10-10 in the Big East. The year before that, when you had Cam Whitmore and Justin and all those guys on the roster, 17-7, 10-10 in the Big East. I don't. I think you're putting a lot of faith in getting the best out of some of these guys, and we haven't seen this staff in this iteration get the best out of these guys. Like I don't feel great about where this team is going to be this season. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 throughout the year. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. The best part, all you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money to be eligible. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. BetMGM is going to have some fun offers available throughout the NBA playoffs. Bet insurance tokens, odds boost, and what I love, a nice parlay boost or two from time to time, as well as a ridiculous array of player prop bets for any sport that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app, use the bonus code FIELD, and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content that you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the podcast. Like and share the YouTube videos. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.
All fair. All fair. I think I have them in that 7-8 range in the Big East. A lot of it comes down to how Gavalyagov is going to be able to play. Can he be that ancillary ball handler? A lot of guys that play off the catch. It's going to come down to point guard play and who's able to set off the chain of events, which is something I go back to a lot, but it also is true. Like, who sets off that chain of events? Who creates those closeouts? Do they have that guy? Because
I say this a lot, just to kind of reiterate the point that we were making, is that when Jay Wright was running his offense, they weren't running an offense. What you would do is you would have one guy that would go get a paint touch, force help, then kick it out, create a closeout, drive, get a paint touch, force help, kick it out, drive.
Exactly.
Like that is the way that.
But who's going to be that guy? Like how they used to do it with all these different guys. RGD, like they would go down and guard post up in order to get a paint touch. Like,
you're posting up Briggs.
Briggs is 5'11", like, and he's not the biggest guy. So how is this going to work? I'm very intrigued to see how they're able to create closeouts, because over the last year, they haven't been able to. Even the last 2 years, maybe, it just hasn't been the same.
Yep. So we can get to the X factor here. I think it's Kyle Neptune, right? Like, he's got to find a way to be able to make these pieces work and get a performance that's better than the sum of the parts. And I really like Kyle. Like, he's always been good to me since he's been the head coach of Villanova, right? I got no bad things to say about him. Best dressed guy in the Big East now that Jay Wright is
You're a fan of the turtleneck suit situation?
Yeah, and he just always has good suits going, man. And maybe I just don't have good style, but I look at him and I'm like, yeah, you know what? At the very least, they're all just tailored well, you know, and it looks like he's actually in pretty good shape, which I'm kind of jealous of these days.
You have a hard time getting a tailor, Rob, just call me.
I don't need it. I don't need a tailor. If I am ever in a situation where I need a suit, I just go to Macy's, buy one off the rack, and I'm good to go. I look great at Fanta's wedding.
Like Fanta's wedding.
That's exactly what I did at Fanta's wedding. I looked great. Kyle Neptune even complimented me on that. I'm actually
there. You go.
I don't know if he actually did. Either way, I think it's going to be like Neptune's got to prove himself this year. Last year was a big year for him, and it did not work out very well. He's got to prove himself this year. Like, this is the year to say, like, I have my guys here, right? I think there's what, 2 players left from the Jay Wright era on this roster. 3 if you want to count Nana and Njoku, who we'll see if he ends up playing. He's got a lot of injury stuff going on. So This is the, like, you got to prove something, man. Like, you got to. This is the year for Kyle Neptune.
This is the year. This is I'm not going to say it's make or break because we all really know it's whatever Jay Wright wants to do, but
Yep.
it's getting there. Reputation is being built right now. And if it's not for this year, it would be, if it's not for this job, it'll be for the next job. So a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
What's your grade? What's your grade, Rob?
I don't know how low I wanted to go on this. Like, I've given 1D+ in this entire exercise.
Who'd you give that to?
Memphis. And that was before everything happened. That was like 2 months ago. So now Memphis might even be lower. But I went with a C- for Villanova.
I'm going a solid C. And I actually go C+. I'm going C+ because I think Wooga Poplar is better than what you think he is.
I don't.
You think he's terrible.
It does kind of sound like a crush from, right? Like, I think he's a really good player.
I think he's good. I think he'll be an impact guy because he's got the size that's had success in the Big East. He can shoot over the top, and in a league that doesn't shoot it great outside of a team or two.
What I'll say is, I think that another year playing in Jim Larranaga's system, I think he's a star, right? Like, I think he's an all ACC caliber guy. And then coming into a system where, like, TJ Bamba just looked like a regular dude, right? And he's really good. And Tyler Burton just looked like a regular dude, and he's really good. And Akeem Hart just looked like a regular dude, and he's really good. Like, that is, we'll see, man. I want it to work. I like Kyle Neptune. I want it to work. I'm a Big East guy. The Big East is better when Villanova is good. I literally it takes me 45 minutes, and I am door to door to go see a Villanova basketball game on the main line. Like, I want it to work. I want, out of all the teams in the Big East that, like, I want to have success, like, the one that is the best for Rob Dauster selfishly is Villanova, right? But
I see you wearing Villanova jerseys all the time.
well, no, you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's good. It's good
it's
good for business. It's good for the entertainment value that I get from being able to go to good games. It takes me even less. It takes me 25 minutes door to door if I leave early enough and miss the traffic to get to Wells Fargo Center to see them play in the Sixers arena. Right? Like, I want Villanova to be good. I don't know, man. I don't see it. I don't see it. So was that
C+
too
for
harsh?
me.
Was that too harsh?
No, it's all fair. It's all fair. And for a Villanova fan that's not upset with that or not happy with that, that's fine. You can be unhappy, but I think that's a very fair evaluation. I think Wooga's going to be a little bit better than what he was at Miami because he's going to have more opportunity. Is he going to be as efficient? If he's as efficient, then it could be a really good year for him. But if he's not, I just think so much of it comes down to playmaking. Who's your playmaker off the bounce? Because within the offense that Kyle Neptune grew up in as a coach, as an assistant under Jay Wright, you have to have that initial breakdown guy. And I'm not sure that Brickus is going to be able to do that with consistency in a league that is big at the guard spot.
Yep. I agree. All right, T.O. Been a pleasure, man. Always fun to see you on early on a Friday morning, especially when you are nice and fired up. If you guys want more of these off-season grades, we have about 45 of them up on the Field of 68 YouTube channel, so make sure you go and you check those out. We are officially, as of this recording, it is Friday, September 6th, right now, 60 days away from the Field of 68 opening day tip-off, the first game of the college basketball season, right here, Field of 68 YouTube channel.